What is going on, guys? In this video I'm going to be breaking down what I think is the best run formation in the entire game, and that is I-form twins. Now, I-form twins gives you a 4-play scheme that is absolutely dominant. This is what I am running as my base offense right now, and so far I have had very little issues scoring. Now, the plays that you're going to want to use, you're going to use the halfback blast, the fullback dive, the halfback toss, and then the pass play that we like to use is this PA draw shot. Now, the passing play is pretty unique, but the main thing about this scheme that is so tough to stop is the running game itself. So the first thing you got to look at when you're running this is the fullback dive. Now, this fullback dive, it's kind of like a slightly delayed halfback dive, except the running back is closer. You see that you have plenty of room, and you're looking at a good 4 or 5 yards pretty much from the get-go. Now, your opponent can sell out and try to stop this. You know, if they start moving people into the box and whatnot, you know, they could try to slow this down, and they will. Your opponent's not going to just let you pick 4 or 5 yards up every rip. But as you see, you know, even with people all up in the box, you're getting a solid, you know, 3, 4, 5 yards with the potential for more. You know, if they come out in a silly defense like dime, you're going to be able to simply just gash that defense, just run it right up the middle, no matter what they do, if they pinch their line or not. So once again, the fullback dive, you see, very nice run in this game, and this one in particular is that much better because say your opponent is, you know, doing some sort of silly defense. I'm not in the right defense to actually show this, but say, you know, they're just sitting there, they're putting everybody in the middle. You can bounce this to the outside, and you can take it kind of off tackle like I just did right there. Let's see. If I flip, I'm going to flip this formation so you guys can actually get a better look at this. So once again, you can simply, as soon as you get the ball, just break it to the outside, and now you have an outside run. So not only does the toss come into play, which I'll show next, but the fullback dive is a very universal play that's going to be very difficult for your opponent to stop. Now, the other thing I wanted to note is on this toss, you can flip it to the other side. And this is what makes I-form twins so dominant, is if your opponent baselines, then you can always go to this side over here because you have more blockers. You'll have a guard pull, and you'll also have the running back pull, as you'll see right here. Now you've got, you know, 4 people to, you know, pretty much block 2. Dominant running play. Once again, you can run it to the other side. You know, say you have the numbers on this side. I'm running tosses with LeGarrette Blount out here and picking up yards, guys. This is a very dominant scheme. If you got the fullback dive, you got this toss that you can run to either side, and your opponent has no idea what's coming. As you see here, I mean, you can crib shot runs on the regular. I'm averaging probably 150, 200 yards rushing a game, and that's really not trying to do too much. I'm taking what the defense gives me. It's very simple. This scheme is very sim-like. If your opponent comes out in a defense where everybody's inside the box trying to stop the fullback dive, you have the toss. If they have people on the outside, like a dollar or a dime or something, you got the fullback dive. If your opponent has good user skill, and that's where the halfback blast comes in. If your opponent has good user skill, and they're shooting the gap, trying to stop the fullback dive, very rare that your opponent will be able to do it consistently, but if they have good user and they're slowing it down that way, the halfback blast will kill them. The halfback blast is pretty much like an off-tackle run, except that you see the quarterback's angle that he hands the ball off at. The angle that he hands the ball off at is dominant. It's been dominant for years. It's not the full... I'm trying to think of the word. It's not like where he pretty much is at a rollout where he's like trying to get outside. to, you know, run stretches and even off tackles. This one is pretty much hike, and then he takes 2 steps, hands the ball to the running back at an angle. And this is what makes this run so good, because now you can cut it right up the middle, and you pretty much have a 3-way go on this. You can either cut it directly in between the guard and center, which will give you, as I go to the instant replay here, that'll give you pretty much that A gap. And that's what I did right here, is I tried to, you know, cut right back in there. But say, you know, I wanted to bounce this to the outside. That's where I actually should have busted this out, because if you look, I have room for days on the outside. I don't know what linebacker that is, KJ Wright, I think, but he actually pushes my left tackle kind of into the backfield. Otherwise, this could have been a, you know, simply an off tackle run to where I'm running in between, you know, the hash mark and the numbers. So it's very, very nice run. And once again, the thing you can do is both sides of the field. Once again, I am outnumbered on this right-hand side, but I'll show you that it simply doesn't really matter. You got a great run. You got a good cutback, which right here, pretty much treat it like a halfback dive. Or, if I see decent blocking, simply bounce it outside, and I have potential to make one guy miss and have a nice run. So, once again, between the fullback dive, the halfback toss, and the halfback blast, you should have no problem getting good yards running the ball consistently. This right here will be the staple of your offense if you want to be a run-heavy player. And this is in the Cleveland playbook. It is also in a few others. Another one that I used was Kansas City. Has a very nice I-form twins formation. But now we're going to get into the passing play, which is not in Kansas City. This play right here is dominant, and I'm going to show you why. So a lot of people simply are running man coverage right now. They're running a bunch of cover ones, you know, blitzing and doing so forth. But before we even get into that, if you look and you see any play that has like a PA something shot, it's what Madden is referring to as a shot play. Now that shot play pretty much gets awful blocking. You get an awful drop back animation by design, but you can trick the game. And if you simply block the running back or put him on a route, you will no longer get that dumb animation, as I'll show you right here. So you get this thing. It's like kind of a delayed handoff, a delayed play action, so to speak. But block the running back, or I'll show you 2 different things that I like to do versus zone here in a second. But once again, man coverage is simply dead, and it's because of these crossing routes. So you can do 2 things. When I think it's man coverage, either I will fade the outside guy so I could do the aggressive catch, or I will simply put him on an in route. Block the running back, and you'll see that all these crossing routes just get nude. That's Brandon LaFell on Richard Sherman. Brandon LaFell is not a good Madden receiver. Sherman is a great corner, obviously, but you see the separation that he gets on this, and it's not going to matter. Here's another cover 1. This is actually a cover 1 blitz. So you'll see here, I got screamed at, of course, but go to instant replay and I'll show you. So on the instant replay, you'll see that Gronk cuts across the middle of the field and just roasts Earl Thomas over here, if I can figure out how to use my controller. So you see he cuts across wide open. And now this pass, although it, you know, it's should be, that's open in this game, and it's open by a decent margin. So I'm going to show you one more time. PA draw, PA, what is it? PA, yeah, PA draw shot. So block the running back and watch LaFell get open. So you see I mean, that in this game is wide open. So you got a two-way go. Your opponent can't user guard both. You just have to buy a little bit of time to be able to hit them. The in route or a drag route is also another nice option to give you another read. Say you guess wrong, it's zone, whatever the case may be, you always have that underneath route. Now, if I know it is zone, I like to simply flat route both of my running backs to the left. Now what this does is it creates a little makeshift screen. And these little things will not only annoy your opponent because you'll be able to pick up consistent yards, you'll also get your opponent to start biting down. And that's when those deep crosses go for huge gains in zone. So we'll go ahead, we'll do the same thing. Say your opponent comes out, you know, they're hell-bent on this, they're manually playing the running back. So when they jump down on that, that is when you should be able to go up top. Now, Wagner dropped back because this is practice mode. In a game, they don't drop back that far unless they're pass commit. But just something for you to look for. And show you once again, you can actually flat route both running backs to the right and get the same kind of thing where you have the little makeshift screen. However, it's not as effective because the fullback tends to not get out in front of the running back. So once again, I'll show you. You see how he kind of stutters? It's just not the greatest. So when running that, I do like to flat route both running backs to the left. So once again, you'll see right here, you know, didn't pick up a huge gain just because LeGarrette Blount's slow, but overall it'll force your opponent to play it, and you will pick up good yards on that. So on that 4 little play scheme, I promise you guys will be able to move the ball very easily and very successfully. It doesn't matter what difficulty you play on, these runs are simply overpowered. So that is the first tip that I will be breaking down. We got plenty more to come, guys. Hope you guys enjoy.